its infrastructure. So this topic is a bit emerging topic, and people are confused about this, like in terms of penetration testing and red teaming. So I think there is a thin line difference, very thin line, the difference between the penetration testing and the red teaming, because the difference is about the goal of uh, exercise and activity. So, for example, in penetration testing, we have been using the Metasploit and all these tools, right? But in case of Active Directory attacks and countermeasures and red teaming exercises, we usually are not using these exploits and Metasploit frameworks and core impact and things along these lines. However, we will be using the misconfigurations in the Active Directory environment and infrastructure to infiltrate into organizations and to grab the crown jewels and the sensitive information, and to like like in case of red teaming, we have to be as stealthy as possible, right? We have to stay undetected from the different controls that are like implemented by the organization, right? Which we are targeting. So I'll try to keep this session as interactive as possible. So if anybody have the question, you can raise the hand and then we can answer the question. However, I have like divided this session into two phases. One is theory and the other is demo and practical session. Let's start off with the theory bits first. Uh, in the theory, I'll be covering the initial concepts of Active Directory, which I think that most of the people already know, because the people who have joined this session, I know them very well, most of them, like. But for others, let me introduce myself also, right? In the for this topic, like, regarding this topic. So basically, this is Mohammed Nafis, and I'm doing like I'm into this area in application security, penetration testing, and red teaming for quite some time now, like maybe 10, 15 years now. I also managed to grab a couple of certifications, the industry renowned certifications. So, so for theory, these are the attacks. If you see my screen, they on the left side there are attacks, and on the right side there are countermeasures, the controls that we can implement to bypass, to control, to mitigate these attacks and similar attacks also. So we will be discussing these attacks and countermeasures in the slide at the end of the like presentation. So just on a surface level, and let me tell you, this is just an introductory session, right, about the Active Directory attacks and countermeasures and the red teaming also, because we cannot cover the in-depth details about the Active Directory attacks, because it's such a huge and vast like field that we cannot cover it in just 1 hour. But I would like to draw the attention of the people who are not yet familiar with the Active Directory and its associated attacks. So let's move on to the initial core concepts of the Active Directory. Then I'll be discussing these attacks: DC sync, what is a DC shadow, over pass hash. And by the way, these are very, very common vulnerabilities and very obsolete also now. So there are very, very advanced and very like sophisticated attacks nowadays. So just a basic introductory session. That's why I'll be covering the very common attacks, right? So let's move on to the next slide. So the first thing that you should know about the red teaming is the attack kill chain or cyber kill chain, right? So these are the steps, these are the major phases, major you can say milestones that you have to achieve in the red teaming exercises or red teaming. So I'm using the word red teaming because red teaming is somehow related to the Active Directory itself also. So these are the couple of steps. On the right side, you can see the steps. On the left side, this is a just a common circle. You might have seen this picture very like nowadays. So from the left side, if you see this screen, so first of all, if you are in order to get into the organization, to infiltrate into organization, most of the time you have to do the reconnaissance about the target. You have to manage to like you have to arrange, you have to get the information about the target. So in the mean, like then you have to get the internal recon and then local privilege escalation. So in this session, I'll be taking the like I'll be assuming this assume breach scenario. So assume breach scenario is a thing like, so consider suppose that we have a adversary already in our network, right? So I'll be taking that in mind, right? That okay, consider that adversary is already in our network and he managed to get into organization somehow by phishing or by USB or something like, right? So once he is already into our network, so what he can do to damage and to like steal the information from the corporate. So if you see the first circle, this is something about the like uh, reconnaissance about the different targets, different servers. So in this first circle you will be knowing about the Active Directory domain controllers, servers, file servers, exchange, what is the SMTP servers, DNS servers, and how many users are there, how many GPOs are there, group policies, and how many OUs are there, like this. So you'll be getting this information. You'll be escalating your privileges to the server and then to a domain itself, and then from one domain, child domain to parent domain, and from parent to external domain. So mapping domain mapping means just to footprint the domain infrastructure, right? How many domain controls are there, how many users are there, how many OUs are there, how many group policies are there. And then after that, like if you see the right side, this one, you can see my mouse movement also, right? So see, can you comment?
Yes, we can see that.
Can see it.
Okay, great. So this first one, domain mapping, is to footprinting the target organization, collecting and relaying credentials. And in this phase, I'll be conducting a demo on this using a responder tool, which will be basically using the misconfiguration of Active Directory broadcast protocols. There are a couple of broadcasting protocols like LLMNR and NBT-NS, and similar WPAD. So these are a couple of broadcast protocols which we can misuse using the responder tool in this phase, and I'll be trying to relaying the credentials from the user to victim, right? So I'll be showing it next slide. So similarly, I'll try to dump the credentials from the LSAS process by dumping the if we have the admin credentials on any machine, on the foothold machine, then we can get the LSAS process and move on, and we can basically uh, crack that LSAS process using the Mimikatz, and then we can use those credentials to further to go further, right, to the organization, using the lateral movement or pivoting. And then the dumping Kerberos tickets. So LSAS process is a process where the clear text credentials of the users and the associated Kerberos tickets are there, so we can crack it using the Mimikatz. Once we have dumped the LSAS process, and then we can crack it using the Mimikatz. Post exploitation, there are a couple of frameworks like PowerShell Empire, and these are a couple of other frameworks also which you can use to persist in the target organization, to stay stealthy, to conduct your operations, and to exfiltrate the information that is there in the organization which you are looking for. And maybe there is a term known as a dwell time, DWELL. So dwell time is a time which is time like organizations used to take to identify the first APT or the zero patient, right? So persistence, there are a couple of mechanisms through which you can persist in the organization. For example, golden ticket, or maybe DSRM mode. There are a couple of other techniques also which you can use to persist in the organization also. Then there is a next step. For example, you got the domain admin access, and then in this phase, you will be trying to escalate your privileges from the domain controller to the parent domain, from the child domain to parent domain, and from parent domain to external domain. So let's move on to the next slide. These are the core AD terminologies. You might have familiar about this. So I'll try to like quickly go through these. Everybody knows DNS, but the second terminology is LDAP, which usually confused with the Kerberos or NTLM, because most of the people, even like I was thinking of LDAP as authentication protocol maybe 6 months ago or 1 year ago. So LDAP is not authentication protocol, rather it's a direct access protocol which is used to fetch the different objects from the Active Directory itself. So LDAP is not authentication protocol, but there are two authentication protocols in the Active Directory. One is NTLM and the second is Kerberos, which we will be discussing along the line.
Sir, sir,
Yeah, please.
सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट, एक आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि काइंडली जब ये आप एक्रोनिम बोल रहे हैं ना, एलडेप या जो है इनके, अगर आप फुल फॉर्म बताते हैं ना, क्योंकि बाकियों का नहीं पता, मैं थोड़ा न्यू हूँ तो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो रहा है।
No problem, no problem. I'll be trying to like.
थैंक
Okay, so LDAP is a lightweight directory access protocol. So a lightweight directory access protocol is a protocol through which you will be fetching the different objects of the Active Directory. What could be the objects? For example, users, the OUs, the computers which are joined to the domain. So group policies. So all these are the objects of the Active Directory, which you can retrieve, which you can access through the LDAP protocol. However, the Kerberos is authentication protocol, just like NTLM. These are the two authentication protocols which are supported by the Active Directory so far, and the UPN and SPN. UPN is very, in simple terms, UPN is user principal name. For example, your email is, for example, mnafis at tinyor.com or moblink.com. So this would be my UPN, right? User principal name, which is easy to remember instead of its SID or some other identity. So, however, SPN is different than UPN because SPN is not a user; it's a service itself. So UPN is related to users and SPN is related to services. For example, how, because everything in the Active Directory is service. For example, CIFS, for example, terminal service, for example, SQL service. So if you run this last query in your corporate network, corporate machine, so you will be finding that how many services do we have in the organization. Okay, so LDAP basically have three major protocols or three major, you can say, variants. One of them is plain text or clear text protocol, which is not suggested to use in the organizations. Rather, we should use the LDAP-S, the secure version of LDAP, which runs on the port 636. Because uh, uh, in case of LDAP, if you if assume that okay, adversary is already there in the network, he's sitting on your network, he can intercept your traffic, right? So if he can intercept the traffic going to the Active Directory from the user's workstations on port 389, which is the insecure and clear text. So that adversary will be able to see all the credentials, all the passwords going from the user workstations and also application servers also, because the applications which are using the AD authentication are basically relaying the credentials of user from users to application and application to AD. So even the credentials going from the users or the users going from the application servers to the Active Directory will be intercepted by this adversary and will be able to crack, because these are the very clear text passwords, right? Using the simple bind. So simple bind is a basically binding protocol which takes the credentials from the application and take it to the server. So 389.636 3269 is a LDAP global catalog, which is another role of domain controller, just like LDAP or KDC. Okay, the next terminology is SID. I'm discussing these terminologies because these are very core terminologies in order to understand the concepts which are coming up, right, in the next slides. So SID is basically unique identifier of any object in the Active Directory. So if you see this first string until 59, this is a SID, right? Which you can see in your organization. If you want to see the SID of your domain, you can simply write this who am I / user. Then you will be able to see the SID of your domain. This is a unique to domain, right? And this is the basically RID. This RID and this is a uh, uh, SID, right? So the combination of RID and SID is SID basically. Okay, authentication protocols are NTLM and Kerberos. I'll be discussing in upcoming slides what is the difference between NTLM, what is the and difference between NTLM and Kerberos. What are the pros and cons? What are the benefits of NTLM and what are the benefits and the disadvantages or the vulnerabilities associated to Kerberos protocols? So LSS, another, this is a process on every corporate workstation, so which is like responsible to handle the credentials of users and get the users authenticated from the domain controller from the AD itself. So if you are typing anything username password on your workstation, This process is responsible to take your credentials from your workstation to the Active Directory and get you authenticated from that. However, this LSS is relatively insecure. If you don't protect it, then the credentials within this LSS will be in the plain text. And LSS contains not only the passwords of the users, the hashes and the Kerberos tickets also. So hashes in case of if you are using the NTLM authentication. However, in case of Kerberos authentication, the tickets will be saved in this LSS process, which you can dump it and you can crack it using Mimikatz or any other tool. So I think you are with me, right? Until now, I think there is no question. Or maybe these are the basic technologies that's which I expect to be like, which I expect that you all guys would be knowing this, right?
Some of them are unknown, but some of them are also known.
No problem. Inshallah, with the passage of time, you will learn and along the
Insh-
slide also, right? Okay. So
Inshallah, sir.
Mimikatz is a tool, right, which is used to dump the credentials, to crack the credentials, get the Mimikatz usually interact with the LSS process to get the credentials, to crack the credentials, to pass the credentials, to create the golden ticket, create the silver ticket, and all these operations are usually used with the Mimikatz. Now, this is a very notorious protocol and can be easily detected by any control like antivirus or EDR or something. But there are variants of this Mimikatz also. And this can also be used to not only retrieve the tickets or hashes from the LSS, but also can inject the hashes into the memory also, right? So Kerberos basically support 3-4 protocols. This one, first one is obsolete now. It's not being used anymore. However, this RC4 is still being used. It's very insecure, and all the famous attacks like you can say skeleton key attack or uh, so these attacks are usually past the hash attack. All these are happening through RC4. So this should be disabled all the way. This should be disabled immediately, unless your applications are legacy and these are still using this uh, algorithm, right? Encryption algorithm. So this should not be used. So going forward, I'll tell you that okay, what is the disadvantage of this RC4? What is the vulnerability about this? Golden ticket is because ticket. Whenever we talk about ticket, it means we are talking about the Kerberos authentication because tickets are associated with the Kerberos authentication, not with the NTLM. So forged ticket, what does that mean? The forged ticket means uh, uh, the ticket which you get from the Active Directory from the KDC. You can easily decrypt it. Use if you have the hash of KRB TGT account, then you can unwrap that TGT ticket and you can add the information like you can add different information into the pack. The pack is basically the part of TGT. So you can unwrap or open this ticket and then inject the information of your own will, and then you can inject the ticket into the memory itself, and you can use it. So golden ticket is some sort of persistence attack, which is used to like persist in the organization in the corporate network to stay there. So golden ticket is a very you can say common attack or very famous attack in the Active Directory attacks. So I'll be discussing what is the difference between the golden ticket and the silver ticket, and what is the use of golden ticket. How can we use it? Okay, this is the first authentication protocol in any Active Directory. Uh, NTLM basically, if your, for example, your desktop or laptop is not connected to the AD itself right now, right? For example, you take your laptop to home and then you want to authenticate to your laptop, how you will be authenticated? So NTLM is a just challenge response protocol, which will, for example, user is giving the username password. So if, for example, user want to authenticate to the desktop or laptop, so laptop will give the this challenge, and the challenge will be encrypted with the username and password which we will supply to the desktop, and the username password will be like again decrypted by the server LSS process, and we'll see if it is the password is as it was stored in the local memory. So if the password is same, then it will get you authenticated. So request, for example, if we see the step by step request resource, if you are requesting a resource, right, what could be the resource? Resource could be CIFS, or maybe your disk or your memory or some other service, terminal service on your desktop. If you want to access this resource, then this machine will send you the challenge, which you have to encrypt it with the password, right? And the timestamp also. Time plus password hash with the challenge, and this information will go back to the server. It will decrypt it. If the password hash is same as after decrypting, then it will verify you and then will allow you to log in. So this is in case of your machine or laptop or desktop is not actively connected with the domain or Active Directory or with the domain controller. This in case of domain. If your machine, if you are in office and your desktop is connected to the corporate network, then in that case, client will send the resource access request, and this will give you challenge, right? And then this challenge will be basically encrypted with the user's password hash, NTLM hash, along with the timestamp, and then it will try to it will not decrypt this time by its own, right? This time it will send the information back to the domain controller. It will decrypt it. If the password is same as it was stored in the domain controller, then it will authenticate. It get you authenticated, and you can access the resource that you wanted to access to this file server, right? File server or terminal server or some other server, right? So in this case, your server will send the information to the domain controller to get you authenticated and get you verified over there, instead of verifying you on its own, right? So this is one of the authentication mechanism in the Active Directory. Let's move on to the next authentication mechanism, which is Kerberos. Actually, I'm discussing all this information on a very surface level, on a very high or very abstract level, because we cannot cover the very minute details in all these steps. This is very like nitty gritty. Otherwise, we will not be able to cover all this information in just 1 hour session. Okay. In case of Kerberos, like in case of NTLM, we were using the challenge response, right? But in case of Kerberos, you are using basically you are sending the username password, right, credentials to the KDC. This is one of like KDC server, Kerberos server, right? So you are requesting the TGT, right? The first step is you are requesting you are passing the username password to the domain controller. It will give you TGT, right? TGT is one kind of ticket. That is your like you can say authentication session, right? So which you can present to the active. For example, for the first time, you are getting the TGT from the domain controller. In this case, you are passing the username password. It is giving you TGT. Then you are submitting the TGT. Like TGT is equal to your username and password. You know why? TGT is encrypted with the KRB TGT hash. So you pass your username password, it give you TGT. You are submitting TGT to get the TGS. What is the TGS? TGS is something that you can present to this server to get the access. So you submitted your credentials, it gave you TGT, and then you are submitting the TGT to get the TGS. Now it is giving the TGS. What is the TGS? Domain controller is giving you TGS, and okay, now you can go to the file server using this. So in step 5, presenting TGS to this server to get the resource access. For the first time, like TGT, whenever you have to get the TGS or for any service or for any resource to access, then you have to go to the domain controller by submitting or by supplying the TGT and asking that, okay, I need the access to this file server or Exchange server or MS SQL server. So give me TGS. So it will see that, okay, TGT is valid. So it will give you the TGS. Then you can take that TGS, go to that service, and it will get you authenticated. So this is a service request. This is a authentication request. Uh, I think I'm not going very fast, right? Yes, guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
No, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
It's
It's
okay.
clear.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Nafis,
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
slide time check. So half time gone.
Yeah, I'll try to wrap it up. Let's see how quickly I can go, right? So this is a screen. If you write your this command on your machine on the desktop or laptop, it will show you all the tickets that you have. Those were granted by the Active Directory. So KRB TGT is a first ticket that was given to you by a domain controller for the authentication. If you wanted to get the TGS also, so these are the TGS, right? LDAP and the CAFS. So move on. Okay. So if you write this command, you will see that how many tickets do you have. But if you are not using the Kerberos, then you will not see this information, because if your desktop or laptop is using the Kerberos, it means you are using the if you are getting these tickets, it means you are using Kerberos. Otherwise, you are using the NTLM. Okay. The next thing that I'll be conducting the demo is password spraying. So password spraying, what is the difference between the password spraying and brute forcing and the credential stuffing? So brute forcing, everybody knows. Password spraying mean if you have a maybe 10 users, right? User 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe until 10. So if you want to try any common password that any organization uses, right? So you can use that password for all these users. Okay, you will try the, okay, this password is valid for this, no, or this password valid for this, blah 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 blah. So this same password is being tried for each and every user. So if any password will be like is valid for any user, it will give you. So this is a password spraying, right? But in case of credential stuffing, you are using the key pairs, right? The username and password pairs to the service. So the difference between brute forcing, password spraying, and credential stuffing. This is a difference. Okay, next protocol is basically a broadcast protocol, which is obsolete now and which should be disabled altogether on the corporate level, which is a to search the proxy details of your organization. So this is, for example, if your system wants to get the proxy configurations, then this protocol will be used, which should be disabled, right? I'll be conducting the demo for this as well. That how you will write this, and then this information, this user and password will be captured uh, by the responder which is sitting on your network. So this is one of the broadcast protocol which should be disabled. The next broadcast protocol is LLMNR and NBTNS and MDNS. So these protocols should be disabled immediately on your organization, because consider, okay, I'll be discussing this in the next slide, how this scenario will be happening in LLMNR and NBTNS. WPAT spoofing, man in the middle tags. This is the man in the middle tag means there's a one machine which wants to search any IP address which this machine wants to connect. Then the responder sitting on your network, it will give you it will give you a response that, okay, I'm this IP, so give me your credentials. So this victim machine will be sending credentials to the responder, and responder will capture those credentials and can relate credentials to the target. So man in the mirror tag means the responder sitting between the victim and the target. So okay, let's move on. This is a Zim breach scenario. This is our this will be our network architecture that I'll be showing it in the demo. So in my infrastructure, in my lab, there is a Windows 7 VM1 and Windows 7 VM2. There are two users, user 1 and user 2. These both machines are connected to the domain controller. We have two domain controllers. One is a child domain and one is a parent domain. This is a commando VM, which is Windows-based VM, which is somehow related, somehow similar to Kali Linux, but in case of Windows, right? This is a Kali. These both machines are not joined with the domain, right? These two machines are joined with the domain, but these two machines are connected to the network, corporate network, right? If you are not having any NAC, network access control, then these machines can be connected to the any switch port, and you will get the IP, and you can connect to your laptop. You will get the IP, and you will be able to access the resources. Okay, so these two machines are domain joined. These are the two domain controllers. These two are not domain joined, and these are my attacking machines, right? So WPAT can be disabled like this. I'll be sharing the slide with you so you can see how you can disable this WPAT in your registry hives. Conditions like same, that you are sending the this client wants to connect to any, for example, any machine, right? Which you like, if a user sitting on this desktop will mistype something which he wants to access, but there was a typo mistake, then the request will go to the DNS. If the DNS will say that, okay, I don't know this IP, then it will check the local host. Even if that entry is not there in the local host, then it will broadcast that request that, okay, anybody know this IP? Then the attacker sitting on your network with the responder listing on your network. So this attacker would be using maybe Kali or some other machine to set up the responder tool, and it would give the access back to it will respond back to the client that, okay, this is my IP, like this is IP which you are looking for, so give me your credentials. So in first step, it will say that, okay, anybody have the IP? It will forward the request to the victim. Victim will give the challenge. It will forward the challenge back to the client. Client will encrypt the credentials of the password with the challenge. It will send to this attacker. Attacker will send the challenge to this, and it will get you authenticated. Now this is giving the response back to the attacker, right? See, the victim is giving the access granted, right, in this case, but this attacker is giving the access denied back to the client. So client will think that, okay, maybe I have mistyped something or I have not entered the credentials properly, so that's why the access is denied. However, this is not the case. Maybe victim have granted the access, but it have in the man in the middle, it have like guard the credential, guard the access to this victim, right, using the credentials ring. This demo will I will also be covering. So NTM relay mitigation. In order to mitigate the NTLM relay mitigation, you can use a SMB signing, so which you can use, right? And SMB signing is by default enabled on the active domain controllers. Parse hash is simply if you have the hash of any user which you have extracted from the LSAS process or else somewhere else, then you can pass this hash to the file server or domain controller to get you authenticated, right? So you don't need the username password if you have the hash. So you can use that hash using the Mimikatz tool and you can get the access to the server. So the golden ticket, if you have the hash and you have you have the hash of KRBTGT account which you can use to craft or develop or make the TGT and send it to KDC, and KDC will try to decrypt that golden ticket, that TGT. If that TGT is decrypted by this KDC, KDC will not verify that okay, this ticket is granted or given to this machine using any that TGT is given to this machine by me or any other domain controller on this network. So it will not verify. If it will not verify, it will simply see that okay, TGT is decryptable. I am able to open you using the KRB TGT hash. It means this is a valid TGT. So it will give you the TGS and you can get the TGS access. This is a more detailed concept, so which cannot be covered here. But in simple words, TGT is a forged ticket which is forged, which is manipulated using the KRB TGT hash. If you have the hash of KRB TGT account, then you can open the TGT. You can enter any information in the TGT. For example, the in my TGT that was given to me by KDC was like it was containing that okay, I am the member of local admin, or maybe I am the member of this group, right? I am the member of IT. I am the member of this group, this group. However, the TGT that I am submitting to the KDC using the KRB TGT hash, I'll be inputting that okay, I am the admin of, I am the part of domain admins, I am the part of enterprise admins. Then KDC will try to open the TGT. It will see that okay, what is the membership or user authorization information. It will see that okay, TGT is like crackable, or sorry, it's being opened, and it will see the information that okay, this user is part of domain admins. This user is part of enterprise admin. So it can give you the TGS for those services which are authorized to the domain to the domain admins. So you can access any resource which you want. So DC sync is a kind of attack through which you will be getting all the username and password from the domain controller. If you have these permissions, right? I'll show you in a minute. If you have these privileges to the domain, then you will be able to get the passwords which are stored in the ntds.dit from the database, and you can get the credentials from there. I think let's jump to the domain to the demo rather than it will otherwise we will not be able to cover the demo, right? What do you say, Tosif? Should we move on to demo or maybe we'll complete the slides? I think we are left with a couple of more slides, maybe 2, 3, 4 slides. So these are the basically detection mechanism, then mitigation mechanism. So in detection, you should log all the PowerShell activity. Yes. How much time we have left with, Tosif?
So we have 18 minutes, Nafis.
Okay. Quickly, I'll take 2-3 minutes to cover this and then I'll go to demo.
Okay.
So PowerShell attack, all the commands which are you are entering in the PowerShell should be logged. So any activities, something like this, if you have detected, then it should be alerted and you should take care of this activity, that what exactly this activity was happening. For example, if somebody is using this command, it means most of the time this command is being used for the malicious purposes. Similarly, if somebody is using PowerShell command with the encoded feature. It means it's encoding the PowerShell script or something, so it will be alerted. So WinRM port should be disabled. Okay, so mitigations. There are so many mitigations you can apply on the Active Directory Domain Controller. Patch the server, minimize the users with the admin groups. Okay, protected users should be there. Use longer complex password for the service accounts. Sorry. Wait a second.
Hello.
Sir will be back in a minute. वो शायद पानी पीने गए हैं.
Yeah, I came back. Sorry. So I think let's move on to the demo. Otherwise, we will not be able to cover the demo. So these are a couple of mitigations which you can find in my domain. So you can hear me, right?
Yes, Nafees, very
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Let me try to move on to the demo now. So you can see my screen now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
See what I was saying, that how many what is our, this was our infrastructure, right? So we have two VMs, two domain controllers, and one window commando VM, and one is Kali view. So let me show you. So this is my child domain controller. This is my window VM1. This is a commando VM. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are the 6 machines: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a Kali machine. This is a commando VM which is not connected to domain. This is a parent domain controller. This is a window VM second, right? So let's try to use that password spring tool, password spring attack, the first track that I told you. You can see my screen clearly.
Not this one.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very small.
Okay, okay. Let me try to enhance its. Now better.
The things are better, but in the back end, which the terminal, I think the terminal is, yeah. If you can zoom in, press
Okay.
Control plus plus.
No, actually, once I click this control plus plus, it will not be like this. See, so I have to manually do this.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, you can see it now, right?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Now I'll be trying the password spring attack. I'll open the MSF console. So I have two
Zoom it
users.
a little bit more, Nafis.
Better now.
Yes, a lot better.
Okay. Thank you. So I've opened the Metasploit. I'll be using the auxiliary module. Then I'll be scanning user scanner, SMB scanner. Then I'll be using the SMB login. Right. I'm using this auxiliary module of MS Metasploit framework in order to launch the password spring attack. So I'll say how many options do I have to enter. So these are the mandatory required documents, the mandatory fields that I have to fill in order to launch the password spraying attack. So I have basically two users on this domain controller. So I'll be trying to using one password for both users, right? I'll be setting the remote host 192.168.50.151.
You have to write the remote host.
Okay, set SMB SMB domain. SMB domain is child.hacklab.local, and then I'll see the SMB user, that is C user 1, right? Or maybe I can create one username file, right? Echo. Again, I have to enter this. Let me try the same one. Okay. I think I close that. Let me create one username file with the C user 1 users dot txt echo C user 2. So this is a user file that I'm creating, user.txt, which where I'm adding the two users, C user 1 and C user 2, right? I've added the two users.
Zoom in a little, please. मुझे लगता है हर विंडो पे आपको करना होगा.
हाँ यार, ये अनफॉर्चुनेट है.
हाँ, बेटर है.
Okay, so I'll launch the MSF console again. Sorry, I think that window was closed. This is a common mechanism to crack the passwords. Once the password for any user on the domain is compromised, dot 50.151. This is the target machine where I want to test the users for password. So set SMB domain child.hacklab local set SMB C user 1 set SMB pass.
आपकी स्क्रीन फ्रीज हुई है, I don't know whether मेरे लिए या सबके लिए. अब आपकी स्क्रीन आई है.
अब बेहतर आ गया.
क्लियर है जी क्लियर है आपकी स्क्रीन. आई थिंक ना नेट के इशू होगा आपकी तरफ.
हाँ शायद.
ये इधर भी यही इशू आ रहा है सर, आपका कि स्क्रीन आपकी वो हो रही है, फ्रीज हो जाती है.
ब्लर हो जाती है.
नहीं सर, फ्रीज हो जाती है.
So maybe it's the
नहीं
recipient
फ्रीज हो जाती है. तो नफीस में
Not sure. मेरे पास तो सही शो हो रही है वैसे, लेकिन बाकियों का नहीं
मेरे पास
पता.
तो ठीक है. तो आमिर कह रहे हैं, I think so recipient side पे शायद कोई इशू है.
So see, I have tried to crack the password for C user 1, for example. So which I given this password list, and it say that okay, for this machine 50.151 the password is success, right? So you can use these auxiliary module or any other GitHub some GitHub script to crack the passwords, right? Once the password is cracked, then you can launch the other critical attacks on the Active Directory also. So for example, now the password is cracked for the C user, right? Which is what is the password? Password is this one, right? What is the user? This is the user, right? This user belongs to this domain, and this is the password. So let's try this user on the domain, and then we can see the other attacks like we can use the AMZI bypass and so. Okay, let's move on to the
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
आपने जो मशीन अटैक की है ये किसी भी यूजर की मशीन है या ये एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी की मशीन है बेसिकली?
ये किसी मशीन से भी आप ऑथेंटिकेट कर सकते हैं। आपने टारगेट वो मशीन देनी जो डोमेन ज्वाइन मशीन हो, which can get you authenticated from the domain. So it can give you like it will relay your credentials to domain controller and will get you authenticated.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So in my case, this was the VM, right?
Nafees,
Okay, understood.
just one question. I think that would clarify this. So we have assumed breach. The client machine is already something that is compromised, right?
Yes.
And from there we are launching that attack.
Yes, this is assumed breach scenario that like so you have to suppose that okay, adversary is already in the network and what he can do to your organization by launching the different attacks, right? In this case, I just added this extra step to get you like familiar that okay, how you can crack the password, then you can move on to the other attacks. So for example, I am launching now. I am going to the Kali and I'll do the responder attack, right? Responder attack means how you can get the credentials from those broadcast protocols unknowingly. Users are not know that users are mistyping something on their desktops, and the unknowingly or without any intimation or alert, the passwords will be going to that adversary which is sitting on your network. So, for example, I just block this. You can see my screen now.
A few
A bit
more
better.
steps, please. Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, one more. So I'm already in the responder directory, which I have downloaded from the GitHub. You can also download from there. So if you see, I have multiple files, and for this attack to like for this attack to successfully work, you like SMB signing should be disabled on the workstations, right? On the destination workstations. So for example, I am launching this attack using the Python 3 responder -i 0. Now, what's happening is that responder tool is listening for which services? SMB service, HTTP service, as SMB, all these services are like this broadcast tool is listening on all these services. Anybody who mistype something, the password will be shown on this screen, right? So, for example, if I go to the foothold machine, which I told you that okay, for example, now this is a Zoom bridge scenario. See that we consider that we already have access to this machine, which is a corporate machine, right? A user who type anything like mistype something, for example, he want to search something like this, which does not exist on the domain. So this machine will try to search the credentials, like try to search this IP from the domain, from the DNS and the localhost, and then it will send the broadcast request. And on the network, this Kali machine is listening, right? So it should capture the credentials, right? So this is capturing the password, right? Whatever you entered, right? So let me see. SMB is on. If I go to the other machine, second user wants to try something on the network, then what will happen? Sorry, I think it's not capturing the credentials because the responder once the responder have captured the credentials for any user, it will not capture the credentials again. So we have to remove the it's DB, right? Responder. And we have to relaunch the tool. So this time we will be adding mistyping something. It will capture the password for this. So this time it have captured the password, right? This is the hash, which you can easily decrypt, right? Which you can use Hashcat or John the Ripper to crack the this password, right? So you can crack the passwords for user using the auxiliary module of Metasploit. You can crack the password using this responder, And similarly, once you have captured the credentials of users who are mistyping something on their machines, you can relay not only capture these credentials, but you can also relay the credentials to the target machine. So which will be looking in a minute. So until now we have captured the password for which user? For this user, right? So we were logged into to this machine using this user, and anything we have typed we have done the type of mistake, then the credentials went to this Kali machine which is sitting on your network. So you have got the credentials. Now we can crack this also, right? If you want to see the cracking, I can show you. Otherwise, we can see how the credentials can be relayed to the next target machine without any cracking. So let's try to relay the credentials first. I'll okay, nano. This time I'll be switching off this service SMB, right? And HTTP also. This HTTP is also disabled. So the SMB service is off on the responder tool. It means if we run the responder tool, it will not be listening for SMB credentials, right? So what we are doing, we are disabling the SMB service on the responder. However, we are enabling, we are listening the SMB services on the other tool, that is multi-relay or SMB relay. What happened to this? Okay, let me run the tool again. Until now, we have only captured the credentials, but we have not relayed the credentials of any user to the target machine. So, say for example, now I'm running the responder again with the SMB service off. However, I'll open the multi-relay tool, which will be relaying the credentials to the target machine for the user who is mistyping something, right? Better now?
Yes.
So we have one more tool known as a multi-relay, right? Which we'll be using to relay the credentials. On the other window, we are just listening for the broadcast protocols. However, once the broadcast request came to this machine, this window will reply back to that machine that okay, I know this IP and send this request to the this IP. So it will give its own IP to the victim, and victim will send the credentials to this tool. So what is this tool? Let's try to run this tool using the Python multi-relay Python dash help. So we can use this command. Paste selection, where you mean for all users, not only for particular users. So we are looking that okay, any request from any user will come, just relay it to this IP. Which is this IP? This IP, right? For example, if we want to compromise this server, right? 50.51. This tool is compiled in Python 3, so that's why I'm using the Python 3. So we have two tools. One is a responder, one is a multi-relay. Let's see if we can relay the credentials from any user, right? For example, if we go to this is a VM1. sorry, I think we have to disable this. What is host name? .50.152. Okay.
And please pay time check. So we are almost on end of time. So let's try to wrap it up, but not finish in the middle. So you can just complete it.
Okay, sure. Let's see if we got the correction on this. I think we are not successfully able to sign the credentials for this.
Maybe some connectivity issue. If you see the error.
No. I think there's nothing wrong with this. Let's see if we type something. I should have got this SMB first. Okay, let me go to. I don't know why is this not sending a request to.
Yeah, and if you can, maybe such things usually happen in the online sessions. But I think it will be great if you can just walk us through the next steps, and then we can conclude the
Actually,
session.
what will happen? User who mistype something on this, so Kali will, you will get the shell on this tool for this machine or any other machine which you will type here, right? For example, if you are mentioning this IP, right?
Nafis, can you try with the -D switch?
Where here?
Yeah, you could close it on relay and yeah, space -D at the end.
Minus
No,
D here.
minus U all, then space -D. Yeah, small d. Because can you try it?
Actually, I think WPAD is enabled here. That's why I think it's not. Actually, it's giving us a.
Face,
Yes.
I think your SAC team has, they're watching the
Detected
session.
it.
Yes.
No. Yeah, believe me, this was working just half an hour ago, and I was not able to, like, I was not being detected.
Also, Nafis, you typed the wrong IP. It's 152, I think. Can you try, because you are trying on 152 and in the command you have typed 151.
Yes, let me try that. I think I have to disable the WPAD. That's why maybe you will be able to see it. I think why, I don't know. So I think it's not working now. I don't know what.
The IP is 152, right?
Yeah, IP is 52. See, you can keep the IP for this or this in both cases. I think it's not the issue. Let me try once more. 152 also. Right now,
Yeah.
tool is listening. If I'll go to this, I'll type something. Okay, this one. I'll try to access something, and I should get the. I think user C user is not the part of domain administrator in the administrators group here. That's why I think it's not getting the. Anyways, this is a concept. The concept is that on one tool you can just like you are getting the cache this hashes here, you can relay the credentials back to the target machine. If that user which is mistyping something is the part of the domain the part of administrators group on the target machine, it will give you shell simply, and then you can run the mimikatz on that and you can get the credentials from that machine also. So I think let's wrap it up. Otherwise, I have a couple of more demos also, but I think we are running out of time now. What do you say, Tosif?
Yeah, I think Nafis, this is a very good start. This is definitely not end of game, and there is lot of more thing that you and your colleagues can tell us. So I will say we can close the session now because this is weekend. Maybe people need to go somewhere, but we will not finish it here. So as you said, that there are a couple of other demos. So let's plan them in some time from now. And
Yeah.
also, I will like what I noticed in this session. I will like that we also cover maybe some sessions how our SOC colleagues can detect whatever you were trying to do in this session.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think this was a wonderful session, the very first session. So I hope that other people will also be sharing their knowledge and offer their services, just like a couple of people who are there in this session also, and they want to offer their services. And I think we can plan the upcoming sessions to discuss all these things. And definitely I can have another session where we can have the multiple tools, multiple demos that I prepared, but unfortunately due to short of time, so we cannot, like if you see these were the slides, like I was thinking that okay, so I think we can have.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
it's an interesting topic. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes, Amit.
instead of 1 hour, it should have at least 3 to 4 hours. So giving a theoretical knowledge and after that demo, because demo always take more than 1 hour. So
Yes.
if it's 2 to 3 hours, then it will be like it's a great starting.
Mm.
And inshallah, hoping that you will teach us more about these topics and these exploits.
Not only me, Amir, you are more guru, right? So you can offer your services also. So you can plan upcoming sessions. So
Yeah, inshallah, we can collaborate together and we can start something, because there are some other guys also who can also help us in such sessions. But this topic actually domain exploitation and mitigation, it's like you cannot find proper exploitation techniques over the internet, or you have to search a lot, and then mitigation, you have to also work hard to find the mitigation steps. So it would be great if we continue with this topic with more time.
Yes, I think Amir well said. So what we do, I think, in some time from now, so we will plan a series of session on this, and we will give the due time so that at least the topic that we start, we finish that, fully. And then definitely not in one session. So maybe we will divide it in different small chunks, so where we cover different aspects of this. Yes,
so see, can you give me a minute? I just want to show one more critical demo. I'll
yes,
not be. It's working now, right? The other session. So this is a more critical, just to show you, right? So I ran this command on this, right? If you see this. So what's happening here is this user C1 user having the privileges that I shown you in the slides, that okay, this user have the replication rights on the domain, right? So which means this user from his desktop or laptop can launch the DC sync attack, which is this one. So see, I ran this
okay,
command. So in this command, what is the output? Let's try to read that, read it together, right? This user, right, have the replication rights, right? So it means this user can can get the credentials, the password credentials for this domain. So this user have the replication rights, replication get changes all, and now this user is pretending to the domain controller that okay, I am the domain admin, so give me the credentials. Just like the synchronization happens between the different domain controllers to sync the changes. So this is pretending to the domain that okay, I am also domain controller of your domain, so give me the credentials and give me all the changes, right? So from this command, we can see that okay, this user is having the extended rights on this domain. So on the next window, I run this command. Let me show run this command again using the Mimikatz, using the kbtgt hash from the same.
If you can increase the size of window, that will be helpful for people to see.
Okay. Actually, it's a 4K LCD, so that's why it's showing you on the 4K. So in the 4K, it will show you too much.
Or instead, you can go to the font, yeah, and you cannot change.
This is maximum, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me open it maximum this way. Can you see it now? Well,
not very much.
Better, but not much.
Yeah, but all we can do is you can copy paste the command in some Notepad++ and show it there, and then we can execute it.
Yeah, okay. So let me try this. So what I did using this user, he has more privileges on the domain. So using this command that I just ran, right, this one. Let me copy this.
फीस भाई बहुत जल्दी चश्मा पहनोगे जो हाल हो रहा है ना
यार बस नहीं असल में 4K मुझे सही दिखाई
everything in a so small font.
You're right.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Let me okay. इस कमांड के थ्रू हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि हम डोमेन कंट्रोलर के पास जा रहे हैं और वहां से क्रेडेंशियल्स मांग रहे हैं उससे. तो सिंस ये जो विंडो है ये विंडो चल रही है यूजर 1 के साथ जो कि नॉर्मल डोमेन का यूजर है और इस यूजर के साथ अब डोमेन कंट्रोलर के पास जाते हैं और उसे कहते हैं कि अपनी मुझे सारी रेप्लिकेशन चेंजेस दो. डोमेन कंट्रोलर इज गिविंग ऑल द हैशेस फ्रॉम इट्स ntds.dit database. सो फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हमारे पास कोई कंपनी है और उस कंपनी में 500 यूजर हैं तो 500 यूजर्स के सारे हैशेस यहाँ पे आ जाएंगे एंड देन यू कैन सिंपली क्रैक दोस यूजर्स. सो दिस इज अ मिसकॉन्फ़िगरेशन. दिस मिसकॉन्फ़िगरेशन इन द ऑब्जेक्ट्स. किसी ऑब्जेक्ट को आपने ज्यादा परमिशन दे दी है. अपनी आपकी जो चाइल्ड डोमेन है चाइल्ड डोमेन पे आपने सारी प्रिविलेजेस दी हुई हैं जिसकी वजह से आप डीसी सिंक कर सकते हैं व्हिच इज अ वेरी वेरी फेमस एंड वेरी कॉमन अटैक. सो हमें अपनी जितनी भी ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं उसके ऊपर अगर हम ACL की परमिशन को रिव्यू करें देन वी विल बी एबल टू फाइंड अ लॉट ऑफ मिसकॉन्फ़िगरेशन ऑन द ACL लेवल. So this was the major demo. I think it worked. So I'm happy that okay I can show you something. So any user आप अपने डोमेन में भी देखेंगे तो आपको ऐसे बहुत से यूजर्स मिलेंगे जहाँ पे जिसको मिसकॉन्फ़िगरेशंस होंगी और इस तरह की और भी मिसकॉन्फ़िगरेशंस हैं जिसके थ्रू आप अपनी डोमेन के सारे डेटाबेस के पासवर्ड्स निकाल सकते हैं. Now we can wrap it up, I think.
Okay, so thank you very much for the wonderful session. So if anyone has any question, we can take in next 1 to 2 minutes, and then we will wrap up the session.
It's okay from my side. The question is when will be the next session, the lengthy one?
Yeah, so that really depends, Amir, on you and Nafis. So how quickly you can get back to us with the plan, and then we will definitely plan those sessions.
Sure, we will.
Yeah, sure.
We will discuss
on the next one. Maybe.
No problem. Great. Thank you. So I think let's wrap it up. Asan bhai, can you hear me? Asan? I think Asan just left. Anyways.
Okay. Yeah, I think then just wrap it up, Nafis. So I will thank you all on behalf of ISIS Care Pakistan chapter, and especially Nafis to give us this very informative session. and then the promise from Nafis and Amir to not stop here, but to continue this journey and enlighten us more on this topic. So with that, thank you very much, and Allah Hafiz. Yes, Nafis, if you want to say some last words.
I think that's fine. I think Nadeem, Amir, Awais, Asif, all these people who are here in this session, they are like volunteer to offer their services, including Hassan. So they are ready, and we can make a calendar, training calendar, weekly or bi-weekly, so we can launch these services. It will be a very good platform of community work and volunteer work. So
yeah,
इसी बहाने जरा गपशप भी होती रहेगी.
I think that is very good.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Can we get the recording? Recorded
Yes.
lecture.
Hopefully we will finish the recording gracefully, and I will have that, and then I will upload it as at the web place somewhere, and then we will let you know definitely.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Tosif, and everybody here who like spare their time from their weekend. So okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir. Walaikum assalam. Allah Hafiz, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.